Hello everyone, welcome back to my recording of research into a birth chart. This is going to be a pre-recorded reading, and I'm just going to scribble away here and research the chart. And you can be here on my bird's eye view having a look at how I research a chart as I get to know this birth chart. Now, this person actually knows their birth chart quite well, so this is not really for the recipient. This is for me to understand their birth chart. And apologies for the handwritten nature of the birth chart. Since we have AI videos popping up everywhere, I am determined these days to make very handmade videos. So here we go. Let's have a look at the chart itself. I'm going to draw in a South Indian chart. And in the South Indian chart, it is the ecliptic that is fixed or stays still. So I'm just going to write in the zodiac signs. And now that we have the chart in place, let's remind ourselves, if people like to look at the South Indian chart when we're doing Tropical Vedic Astrology, you might like to look at it through the chakras. And if you do, this is the base chakra here. These two signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, owned by Saturn. This is our second chakra. The two signs, Pisces, Sagittarius, owned by Jupiter. Our third chakra are the two signs owned by Mars, Aries, and Scorpio. The heart center chakra here in the two signs owned by Venus, got Taurus and Libra. Then we have the throat chakra, our fifth chakra here, two signs, Gemini and Virgo, owned by Mercury. And finally, our sixth chakra, shared by the moon and the sun, Cancer and Leo. So here is our ecliptic laid out in its relationship with Earth, where the winter seasons in the Northern Hemisphere are down here at the base chakra, and the summer seasons with the equinox, with the solstice up here at the top of the Earth. But now that we have our chart laid out, let's put in the planets as they are for this Earth reading so that I can begin to know what planets I'm researching for this chart. So we do actually have a planet in Aries. We've got the sun. And in Taurus, we have two planets. We have Moon and we have one of our nodes, Ketu. And there aren't any planets in Gemini nor in Cancer, but we do have Mars here in Leo. There are no planets in Virgo, no planets in Libra. Then we have Rahu, our partner node to Ketu, is here in Scorpio. And right next door, we have Jupiter in Sagittarius, no planets in Capricorn, no planets in Aquarius. And then we have three planets in Pisces. We have Venus, we have Saturn, and we have Mercury. And we now know the layout of the planets. And immediately, without knowing anything about this chart, we see some very blessed placements that you are able to spot, I'm sure. The sun is exalted here. It's at 11 degrees of Aries. So the sun in this chart is exalted. The moon is also exalted. It's at 245. So it's in that very beginning degrees of Taurus where the moon is exalted. And Jupiter is in its own home in Sagittarius, and Venus is exalted here in Pisces. So we have some really comfortable planets. And then we have just one planet that might be drawing our attention, which is Mercury is here in its debilitation sign. However, it's not debilitated. It is at 2918. So it's very, very, very close to Aries. And it therefore is not in the debilitation zone of Pisces. So in its own way, it's not doing too badly because it would be in friend dignity here, but of course it's also with Saturn. So there's plenty going on here in Pisces, and I'm sure that this will form part of our discussion. So here we go. We started having a look at where the planets are. One of the ways that I have come to enjoy looking at Vedic astrology is to think of this ecliptic as our Earth campus, that we have all incarnated here to learn, just like it is when we go to university. We leave home and we go to a strange environment with its own timetable and its own ways of working. So having a Vedic astrology reading is a good way to find out what your timetable is supposed to be for this Earth University. And in order to answer that question, we first of all need to know, if possible, where is the Ascendant degree? Because this tells us where the karma is going to be distributed for this person, and it helps us with our Earth campus. So I can tell you that the Ascendant degree is in Leo. And this means that Leo becomes the first house, and that makes Virgo the second house. And you can see it carries on all the way around, making Cancer the 12th house. Now, why this is important for our timetable is that at Earth University, we're all studying the same 12 subjects. And our college, in this case, Leo College, lets us know which of the learning spaces will be allocated to that topic. So everybody on Earth campus has a Unit 1. Unit 1 is about understanding the self. And everybody's Unit 2 is about finding out your values and resources. Everybody's Unit 3 is for exploring your skills and interests and hobbies. Unit 4 is our safe sanctuary what's going to make us feel safe in this Earth campus experience. Unit 5 for everybody is creativity, legacy, and children. Unit 6 is where we're going to learn about our health, our enemies, and our routines. Unit 7 is relationship and exchange, and it is the other end of the campus. Unit 8 is trust and transformation. Unit 9 is meaning and purpose. Unit 10 is our career and status. Unit 11 is about recognition, gain, and organizations. For Unit 12 is all about loss and liberation. So everyone on Earth campus studies these 12 units, but the classroom that is allocated depends on which college you attend at this university. And this person's first house is in Leo, so they attend Leo College. And their units, I'm going to list just here. So Unit 1 is going to begin their entry to Earth University right here at Leo. This is where the doors of the university are flung open, and the entrance gate for this person is Leo. And they will work their way around Earth campus, collecting their textbooks, using their timetable to be in the right room at the right time until they graduate and leave Earth campus through the 12th house, meaning that Cancer is their exit from Earth University. So they enter Earth University, Unit 1 in Leo, work through their timetable clockwise and exit in the 12th unit through Cancer, ruled by the moon, a sun to moon experience of Earth campus. So now that we have laid out that there are these 12 units that all Earthlings are studying at Earth campus, and we know in this particular campus, the person belongs to Leo College and they're going to enter through Leo. This means that we know that their Unit 1 is being taught by Professor Sun. So I'm going to now add to our diagram of Leo this color yellow to represent the sun, so that we remind ourselves that this Unit 1, understanding the self, is being taught by the sun. And one of the features of Earth Campus is that the professor for that classroom, Leo classroom, might not actually be teaching in Leo classroom. So they have written the textbook for Leo, and let's capture that over here in Unit 1. So Unit 1 is being taught by the sun. I'll just put the name of the professor here, and it is the sun in this case. And he's using the pronoun he, him. So he's written this textbook from a masculine perspective, from his masculine gender point of view. Now, what textbook did he write? So I'm just going to put the name of the textbook goes here. And how does it need to be adapted if that teacher is not in their classroom? So the sun has written a textbook for Unit 1 in the Leo classroom. And let's think about Leo. It is a fixed fire sign. It is providing on Earth campus a space where students can explore their true solar identity, that intelligent, consistent, golden, and royal, regal sense of self. So let's imagine the textbook is, I'm going to give you a suggestion and then you guys can think about whether you agree or not. The textbook might be something like Consistently Living as Your True Self. This is the textbook that has been written by the sun for this first unit. And now we need to just go find out two things. Where is the sun and how is it doing? So the sun is all the way over here in Aries. So although this teacher wrote the textbook for the first unit, Understanding the Self, he wrote a textbook called Consistently Living as Your True Self. He's teaching it from Unit 9, which is the Aries classroom, ruled by Mars, but has many beautiful, harmonious things in common with Leo. So there's a lot of synergy to this placement. And let's see exactly how this teacher is doing. So over here on the final column, on the far left-hand side, we're going to have our faculty. And in the faculty, we have two different types of professors. We have some idealistic professors and we have pragmatic. So these two different styles of professors approach life slightly different. In the top part of the faculty, these professors have a vision of how students should learn, of what life is really possibly about. They've got inspiration of what's possible. And our pragmatic professors have got life experience in the real world of making the real world work, not as interested in concepts that maybe don't apply when the rubber hits the road. It's got these two different approaches to teaching, but the sun falls fairly and squarely up here in the idealistic category. The sun, perhaps for all of us on planet Earth, as we're part of the solar system, the sun is maybe the most idealistic of all, isn't it? Got the vision to keep all of the solar system together. And the sun is exalted in this chart. That's the first thing that we can say, where we notice that the sun is right up here in Aries it loves to be here. There's a lot of synergy. Both of these signs are fire signs. Both of these signs are masculine, and they are sharing dharmic numbers. So the first unit is dharmic and the 9th unit is dharmic. So there's a lot of synergy. This would be the first sign of the zodiac, and this is the 5th sign of the zodiac. So no matter which way we put it, they are in dharmic signs and houses, and they're in the same element, right? It's trinal relationship. So a lot of synergy, and the sun is exalted or proud here. So really, it's the place where the sun performs best at this university. Even though it owns Leo classroom, it kind of excels when it's in Aries. And that's because Leo is a fixed sign, whereas Aries is a cardinal sign. It has direction. It's more extroverted, more action-orientated, and putting the sun there just allows that leadership of the sun to really be supported to take action. So it's going very well here. Not only is it exalted, but it is placed in the middle of the sign. So it is Kura, meaning it's young, it's full of life. And because it's in its exaltation sign, it is Jagrat, meaning it's fully awake. So this professor is really well placed here. And let's see how that plays out across the strengths, because the professors have strength in taking action. They have stamina internally. They have responsiveness, and we'll give them an overall rating as well. So in terms of action, this is measured by the Shadbala of the planet. And in this case, the sun has 36 out of 60. That is because the sun gets its highest Shadbala right here, where the solstice is, and it's about halfway there. It's on its way. So it's got 36 out of 60. It is getting full support from Mars because it's in Mars sign, plus 60 points from Mars of delight. And it's getting a beautiful aspect from Jupiter, and Jupiter is doing okay with gesture as well. So that ends up being from Jupiter support of 38 out of 60 from Jupiter. So a lot of support for action from being in Mars' sign and from an aspect from Jupiter. The only thing that is bothering this sun is that it's getting some planetary aspect from Venus, but that is such a small amount that it's really not bothering the sun at all. So a lot of support for taking action. Now, in terms of stamina, it has an Uchabala of 59 out of 60. And this is because it is actually in its exaltation sign. So it is very close to the highest amount of points you can get for Ucha. It has an internal reservoir of inspiration that no matter what comes along, it knows to be consistent and approach life in an intelligent way. In Uchabala, it is receiving just a small amount from Mars and Jupiter because both of them are relatively close to their debilitation points. So Jupiter is just away from where it would be debilitated, and Mars is just away from where it would be debilitated. So it's not really receiving any support, but it's also not getting any negative energy either. So this Professor Sun can take action and has an inner store of reserve. Now, let's have a look at how it is going for responsiveness, because the Sun, its lectern is at the 10th cusp. So this is where the Sun's microphone is, actually here in the 10th house. So this professor is actually really close to their lectern and microphone, and this means that the students can hear what the Sun is saying, and the students can be responsive to what the Sun is teaching, and if there's any need to adapt in real time, they are hearing from the Sun very well. They can hear their teacher well, and that is actually 47 out of 60. So overall, I think we have to say that this professor is working at the A+ level. It's hard to imagine a Sun that would be doing any better than this Sun here in Aries. So now that we know how the Sun is working, we can say that it really doesn't have to adapt the textbook. If in any way this textbook is in fact being enhanced by being taught in Aries. So the textbook consistently living as your true self is even better in Aries in a way, because it gives this person the self-belief that no matter what, they're going to live by their values and what they believe is true and is a true expression of themselves. That's because it's happening right here in the 9th house, and that is all about our meaning and purpose. So you take the textbook consistently living as your true self and you put it in this classroom about meaning and purpose, and in a fire sign of taking action with that sort of extra Mars impulse, this person has got the initiative, they've got the action, the grace to really follow their true values and live as a true version of themselves. So the Sun is really well placed here. We're just learning about this chart. So now it feels like, why don't we go learn something about Mars? Because Mars is hosting this 9th house. So I'm just going to highlight Mars, and what do we see but an exchange between these two professors. Whereas the Sun owns Leo and is in Aries, Mars owns Aries and is in Leo. So I'm just going to put in Mars here in red so that we know that this sign is being ruled by Mars. Now, Mars is therefore in charge of Unit 9. So let's bring the red color down here so that we know that it's Mars who is teaching Unit 9. And this is the masculine expression of the Mars archetype. And what would the textbook be for the 9th unit if Mars is teaching it? So Mars might write a textbook like Pioneering Your Purpose. This is because Mars is writing this textbook for the Aries classroom. Aries is a fire sign. It's a masculine sign. It's a cardinal sign. It's active. So pioneering is perhaps a word chosen for the textbook title because Aries is willing to start something on its own. It's got all of the courage there to do that, and it's going to do that in relation to what is meaningful for itself, for this person, for their dharmic energy. And now we see that we have the owner of this 9th house perhaps writing a textbook called Pioneering Your Purpose. But how is Mars doing? So let's go have a look at Mars. And Mars here is in a neutral sign, and it is in the prime of its life. So it is young, full of energy, and it is a little bit sleepy here in this location. But how is it doing as far as its natural state of action, stamina, and responsiveness? So in terms of Shadbala, it has 47 out of 60. This is because Mars is a good distance from the sun. So action and confidence come when we have the autonomy to do what we feel is right, especially for a planet like Mars. If we're in the same classroom as the sun, obviously owns Earth campus, it's a bit intimidating. We feel a bit cramped, a bit judged. But here Mars is coming around to where it would be almost opposite the sun. It's on its way to being opposite. So it's gaining brightness all the time. And this is giving it more and more confidence. Hence, we can see that it's got 47 out of 60. But let's see, is it getting any support from anyone? And it certainly is. It is getting support from being in the sun's sign. So it gets just like Mars gave plus 60, the sun is going to give plus 60 right back from being in a friend sign. It gives Mars the feeling of inspiration and the grace that it's following the right thing. But Mars is also getting support from Jupiter, who is relatively bright as well, meaning it's got confidence as well. And so Jupiter is contributing 38 out of 60. So 2 sources of delight for Mars, just like there were for the sun. And Mars's only enemy, Mercury, is not really causing any damage to speak of. It's causing 15 out of 60, but I'll put it in here just for completeness. But I personally wouldn't worry about that because there's so much delight in terms of action. Now, for stamina, Mars is maybe not doing as well because we can see that it's quite close to its debilitation sign. So Mars is receiving only 5 out of 60 for stamina. So it might act very courageous, talk about being courageous, be inspired about being courageous, but inside of itself, there might be this lack of courage, a sort of doubt inside the self. But luckily, we're getting some support for this Mars, that the sun is very high in confidence because it's in its exaltation sign. Just being in the sun sign is going to give support to any sense of inner doubt about courage. And the moon is also giving support to this person's inner reservoir. It's giving them the intuition, it's giving them the imagination that when they don't feel that internal courage, they're able to imagine what they could do that would help. So moon is helping out as well. And it is giving 40 points out of 60. So Mars, although it might be low in itself, it's getting support from the sun and the moon. And then finally, its responsiveness. How close is it to its lectern? And will the students be able to hear it? So Mars's lectern is also in the 10th house. And we can see that it's about a quarter of the chart away from that. So we find, in fact, that in terms of being able to hear, it's 33 out of 60 for the students. So they can hear it about half the time. Let's see if Mars is getting any support. Yes, it's getting that support from being in the sun sign and the sun being relatively close to its microphone. And it's getting about 20 from Jupiter as well. And it's only minus 12 from Mercury. So once again, we see that this is a planet doing very well. Its biggest problem in a way is an internal sense of confidence, but it can turn to the sun and the moon for support with that. So let's give this professor a B+ to A. I think it's still doing very well. And let's have a look at, we forgot to do this with the sun, so we're going to recap now. Let's have a look at how well this Unit 9 is doing, because there are various ways that Unit 9 can be supported, this classroom itself or this unit itself. And we call it prosperity and annihilation. So there are points for prosperity and there are points for annihilation. So let's examine what we had for Mars. The first question to ask ourselves, is the house receiving Rashi aspects from benefic planets? So it's not getting anything from Aquarius, it's getting something from Rahu, and it's getting something from Mars. And it has a malefic there. So actually we've got Rahu, we've got Mars, we've got a malefic. Is the house lord with a benefic planet? No, that's also not with a malefic planet. Is the house lord Yuva? Yes, it is, but it is not awake. And is the house lord in the 10th? No, but it is in the 1st. So I'm going to give it 1 point for being in the 1st house. And it's aspecting its own house. There is no aspect from Mercury or Jupiter, and it's not losing in planetary war. And the house lord is not with an evil house lord. So I am going to call that at 3 and 3. So this unit is getting about as much support as it is getting stress. So I think that really the textbook here we can consider to be going well, that this teacher has written a good textbook, Pioneering Your Purpose, and it's now being taught here in Leo. The only adaptation that I see there is perhaps a little bit more of a fixed approach. So maybe this is a little bit more intense, or more intensity to this textbook. Pioneering Your Purpose is perhaps a little lighter, a little bit more free, a little bit more spontaneous and trusting your own instinct. Whereas teaching it from Leo, there might be that sense of that regal nature of Leo, that it's very fixed, it's a little bit conservative, it's already got a good status, and this might bring a certain level of intensity to the textbook, Pioneering Your Own Purpose. The person might feel that their purpose should be more than it is. It should be even more regal, more important, more valuable, more esteemed. So sometimes this person may feel that they are not doing enough for their purpose, even though for the rest of us, we're doing a great job. All right. Now, we forgot to have a look at the support for Unit 1, which is really important. So let's go back and have a look at the prosperity and annihilation for this unit, Unit 1, prosperity and annihilation. We're going to go through our same questions. Is the house Rashi aspected or with a benefic? So here we can see that we're going to get an aspect from the sun, and that is all. So the sun is a malefic, so I'm going to pop that in the annihilation column. Is the house lord with a benefic planet? No, but it's not with a malefic either. It is both in and awake, so there are 2 points there. It is not in the 10th house, but it is in the 9th. I want to just put a little half point there as well. The house lord is not with any evil house lords, and that's great. It is aspecting its own house, so we get another point there. And Mercury and Jupiter are not involved. So this one is 4 for prosperity and 1 for annihilation. So this just reinforces that textbook is going to do really well. It's well written and it's going to perform so well up there in Aries. But we haven't quite finished with Mars yet, because Professor Mars is teaching 2 units at Earth Campus. The second unit that Professor Mars is teaching is Unit 4. And I'm just outlining it here. Unit 4 is being taught by Mars, but this is Mars teaching from her feminine paradigm. So in Scorpio, Mars has the courage to explore the deepest, darkest depths to find out what the truth is. And the textbook might be called something like The Courage to Be Still, because we see here that this textbook is being written for a fixed sign. And this Leo curriculum is finding inner safety and sanctuary where they can try to set boundaries to be fixed and still in their inner peace, even though it might involve the courage to explore the unknown world of this deep water sign, this feminine water sign. So far, the planets we talked about, Sun and Mars, in this exchange, the 1st house, the 9th house, the 1st sign, the 5th sign, lots and lots of synergy. Here, we see a female water sign, a receptive sign. Scorpio is only going to reveal itself to you the more you deeply relax. The courage that you have to deeply relax and surrender to the unknown is how Scorpio is going to teach you. The teacher is not here in Scorpio. The teacher is over here in Leo, where it wants to be at the center of the self. It wants to be the king of the realm, and it wants to be true to itself. So this, again, we talked about intensity. These are both fixed signs. This may create a kind of intensity about one's inner peace. And that if other people outside don't respect the need for stillness, then the inner peace could get very disturbed, and Scorpio, when it's disturbed, is even more scary. Mars in Leo teaching this 4th unit from an intense by sign might be adding to that sense of intensity of needing to protect one's inner contentment and values. So this is a textbook that is going to be intensely guarding inner peace. So what we see here with Mars, when it's ruling Scorpio in its feminine nature, the feminine side of its archetype, we see Mars with that courage to surrender to the unknown and be receptive. And that's what helps us get through the dark water of Scorpio, is the courage of Mars, the fire, to know that we're going to survive the transformation that Scorpio offers to everyone. And the defeating of the demons, we need the courage for that. As it's a feminine sign, there's a lot of receptiveness and surrendering. What we see here is Mars is in a masculine sign, and this is going to give it the impulse to try to take action or use its presence, its materialization to resolve the situation. So we just might see a forcefulness, a bit more forcefulness than the textbook was originally indicating. So maybe that brings intensely guarding inner peace, or maybe a bit of forcefulness. That wasn't intended with the original textbook. Let's just finish this off by having a look at the prosperity and annihilation for this teaching room, for this classroom. What support is there from the campus facilities? We are asking all the same questions again. Is the house with a benefic or getting a benefic Rashi aspect? So it's with Rahu. It's not getting anything from Capricorn. It's getting something from the Sun and not from Cancer. So we've got Rahu and we've got the Sun. Is the house lord it is in Yuga, so that is great, but it's not Jagrat. Is it in the 10th house? No, but it's in the first house, which I feel like we're giving it at least half a point for that. Is it aspecting its own house? No, it is not. So that's for annihilation. And Mercury and Jupiter are not involved, and the house lord is not with an evil house lord. So here we see 2 and 3. So there's a little bit more stress than support for this teaching room of Scorpio, where the book, The Courage to Be Still, has been written. Okay, so this is the beginning of analyzing this chart. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know this chart much better so that we can answer the research questions. And I will be back and look forward to being back with you the next time that we have a chance to look at this chart. Okay, bye for now.